Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Okay friends, so let's start with our next and last session. This is on secure software engineering. We have seen what is called software engineering in our curriculum, but what is secure software engineering, what is secure design principles and secure coding practices. I would like to put some lights on it. Let's start with the first one. This is not related to secure engineering but software engineering. This is a very famous figure for software engineering. Your faculty members must have shown such kind of diagram to you many times. I wanted the last diagram, the bottom line, the bottom right I wanted, and we get everything. How the customer explained, the first is how the customer explained his requirements, how the project leader understood the requirements, then the analyst, how the programmer wrote it. The next one is how the business consultant described it, marketing agent. Okay, I will show you such kind of wow. How the project was documented, see your programs, the view document, the comments and all those things documented. What operations installed, how the customer was built. Actually customer is a god, right, but different thing is there. How it was supported and what the customer really needed. Okay. In this full scenario, we as a customer, as a development engineer, nowhere no one has given any thought on security. Okay. Even if I wanted rope, but what kind of the durability of the rope? There is a tire, right? What kind of tire I am expecting? Security is not at all considered or given a thought. Product is developed, deployed, used and so on. Let us talk about defects and how those can be handled. It is a defect. If that defect can be detected and stopped at the requirements level or architecture level, how much it cost? Coding level, the defect is identified, the defect in requirements gathering or analysis or design, if those can be handled or detected at coding time, where how much we need to pay. If different such components are integrated together and a big product is developed and then the defect is detected and corrected, how much it costs. The next one is now it is given to the end user for acceptance, and then I am saying, the customer is saying okay, this is the mistake, this is I was not interested in this such kind of GUI or such kind of value should not go here. That is acceptance test failure, see the value. And the last one, that is actually production, the system is in place at the customer site and there is a bug detected, something like say before buffer overflow attack is detected, I need to correct it, I need to carry out all these processes from coding to back to these things. So there is a lot of cost involved, manpower involved. This is about normal defect. Talk about security defect. If you make your code review and attack is detected or defect is detected, how much it costs, goes on deployment. So as far as possible we need to detect these errors, the security defects at the early stage, defects, and then I talk about the defects which are causing the security of my system or trustworthiness of my system. Why this thing is happening? Because there are worst practices. What are practices? Assuming that only important software needs to be secure. The database in which my login passwords are stored, I will hash them, I will encrypt them. But the data, the UI, from where data is going from my first page to the login page is in the HTTP format or plain text format. See what is happening? Emphasizing hitting deadlines ahead of writing good code. Very in the near future, you are going to join industry, probably in 1 year's time or 2 years' time, and a job is assigned to you. Tomorrow there is a deadline. I need to submit my code tomorrow. So my job is to complete the code and give it. And then I miss the bus of checking the code security of the code. Okay? Similarly, suppose there is an exam tomorrow, so you are preparing. So you prepare for exam, not for knowledge. Barabar, marks are important than knowledge when tomorrow is the exam. This is, I am not saying it is right, but it happens. Having IT make all risk management decisions. IT means IT department, means the department, which is security department, will make a decision. But what kind of security your project is requiring or your department is requiring, they are different. So you need to spell your requirements explicitly to that department. Then they can take a decision. This room, suppose I want to come in this room and there is no iCard is required, I can come inside. But there is a room where your network devices are placed. So there are required not only my iCard but also fingerprint scanning system, because no one can come and go into the system. So the requirement of having the biometric system in this room and requiring the biometric system in the network devices room, they are different. IT department is not knowing, you need to spell it out explicitly. Not considering security during the entire application life cycle. We have seen it. We have completed a project, but security was not in our mind. Assuming that software won't be attacked. It's a fixed. Not doing any security testing. Not planning for failure. I have shown you the code of division of two numbers. C equal to A slash B. But who will test whether B is non-zero? So that kind of failure we haven't done. Software that is not secure by default. What are you assuming? We are using Firefox, we are using Windows, we are using Linux, and we are assuming that this is secure. This is my system, right? And no one had touched me. It is secure. Dangerous. And to overcome all these things, this security, the best practices, we need to use different hats or different roles for security purposes. What are different roles? First one is programmer, the next one is system integrator, system administrator, then there is a exploit, there is a attacker that need to be prevented. So there is a security researcher also available, required to know what is happening on my system, and there is a security analyst. So all these roles we need to follow today or tomorrow in one or other way. Okay? The first level code is written by our programmer, right? So programmer needs to take care of it. Now there are two different components developed. There is a software developer which is integrating these two codes. So you need to take care that these two codes are integrated correctly and there is no security leakage. All those things need to be considered. So these are some security roles, security software roles that we need to go through in our life as a security developer. What are these? The programmer, system integrator, the administrator. I am talking about here system security administrator. Okay? I am not saying who is coming, just write down the phone number, vehicle number, that is also admin. Security, I am not talking about security guard which is sitting outside, show me your iCard and show me. In my college, the people say, Didi, show your iCard. Like, what? Didi, show your iCard. That is different security. You are talking about system security. Network administrators, the security analyst. The network administrator is required because he is going to put some policies on firewalls, on IPS or IDA devices. So, putting the right policy is important. Security analyst, vulnerability analyst, security researcher. So, these are different roles we are going to play. When the system, when I want to develop a system, I want to design system first, then I can play these roles. So, first thing required is what? Design it. While designing these softwares in the security in mind, there are different principles we need to look at. Starting from first one is economy of mechanism to the secure the weakest link. So, all these things we need to look at, these principles we need to apply while developing or designing the software. We will go to these 13 principles one by one. If you have any doubt in between, you can stop me. Actually, few of them we have seen. Privilege escalation I have said, right? Many times I have used the word privilege escalation, and there are separation of privileges and least privilege. There are two things closely we have discussed in the first 3 sessions. Okay, so start with the first one, economy of mechanism. The principle of economy of mechanism states that the security mechanism should be simple as possible, sufficiently small and simple as to be verified and implemented. The security kernel. Keep the design as simple as possible. The idea here is there is a well and I want to fetch water. Okay? The simple thing required is some such kind of device. There is a rope and water can be fetched. Okay? Nowadays, you will not find such kind of things in our villages also. People use motors and they fetch water. Now, that device which need to be have powered on or powered off switch. We are living in the area of IoT. A time has come where the device, people are doing project now. Okay, I will switch on the power on of the machine engine at 2 o'clock. So, the farmer is not required to go to his farm and then start the engine and then pull the water. The issue is when you start putting the sensors there, people are there who are going to make some code written on those sensors, and instead of 2 o'clock engine should start, it will stop the engine. Okay, so all those things you need to consider while writing this. It looks simple, but at the back there is a lot of things. And one more line there I have written is sufficiently small, simple as to be verified and implemented. There is when you develop some security kernels or codes, those need to be tested by doing some code review or static testing or dynamic testing. If those codes are huge, you cannot review those codes completely at static time. Okay? Even you cannot mathematically prove the codes. Okay, this code is not buggy. So, what should happen is we should write small code which can be mathematically proven or which can be statically checked and then proven that okay, this code is not buggy. There are some different tools are also available. We will show these things. So, the small code which is verified is important. This economic mechanism, the things are complex mechanisms may not be correctly understood. What happens, as I said, I will start the engine at 2 o'clock by sitting at one location remotely. So, understood, modeled, configured, implemented and used. So, the simple line is keep it simple as possible. Nowadays in our metropolitan cities, Bangalore, Pune, you will find a lot of such kind of roads they are building, so there is only one way traffic and all those things, and see what happens. The Punekars, they are facing the problem now. The fail safe defaults. System should fail safe. If it is going to fail, it should fail in such a way that it denies access to attacker rather than letting the attacker in. If you have seen my codes in my buffer overflow attacks, if there is a buffer overflow is happening, canary bit, the system will stop, the program will halt, but it will not allow attacker code to execute. Okay? That is fail safe. For example, electric devices are designed to go off to stop when they fail in almost any way. I have seen many traffic signals, when there is a power failure happens, all the three, red, green and the yellow, all are on. What to understand from it? To stop or to go slowly or to what? So such things are there. So what should happen is, when there is a power off or something not normal operation is happening, system should come to end, come to the halt state. Electric door locks generally unlock the power fails to avoid trapping people in the buildings or in lifts. Outsiders can't enter a store via an emergency exit, and insider may only use it in emergencies. The default stance is deny. Specify only what you allow and prohibit everything else. The default permission stance, specify only what you prohibit and allow everything else. This is actually called as the blacklisting and whitelisting. Okay? So these are simple two words, blacklisting and whitelisting. Stop everything and then allow few things which your system can support. Okay? The next one is allow everything and stop only few things which you want to prevent. Okay? So here, complete meditation. Every access to every object must be checked for authority. Every access attempt must be checked, position the mechanism so that it cannot be subverted. A synonym for this good is non-bypassality. Access rights are completely validated every time an access occurs. Systems should rely as little as possible on access decisions. Retrieve from cache. Okay? What happens is, I come with the badge, ID badge, I show it, I enter the room. Let us say I want to go to washroom or to take a cup of tea, I come back. People know I am in the office. Nothing doing. When you go out, you need to do again check in, check out. So you will be record there. Okay? So all those things need to be considered. Open design. The protection mechanism must not depend on attackers' ignorance. Instead, the mechanism should be public, depending on the secrecy of relatively few items like passwords or private keys. So the design is available on net. People are using it. People are examining the design that you are making. So people can suggest or people can attack your system. There are two things. People can attack, still that is learning for you, or people can suggest you, okay, these are the attacks possible. Look at the DMZ or the ethical hacker. The DMZ will allow you, the attacker, to make an attack. A log is generated. From log I can learn something. Ethical hackers actually given the permission to attack my system, the live system. They will report, but they are not doing this activity to attack or harm me, but to detect the flaws in my system. They will report. Again I can correct myself. So the system should be, what they are saying is, the design should be open, not the closed system kind of stuff. An open design makes extensive public scrutiny possible, and it also makes it possible for users to convince themselves that the system about to be used is adequate. Separation of privileges. Ideally, access to objects should depend on more than one condition, so that defeating one protection system won't enable complete access. How many have seen the movie The Ghazi Attack? So if you have seen the movie properly, the one person, he gives 2 keys to 2 people. One is commander, other is his assistant. So the keys are 2 different keys are there. Now I want to start the torpedo window. So he requires to take both the keys, combine them, so a new key is formed, and that key is used to start that torpedo window. So if any one key is lost, still the second key is not there, so attack is not possible. So separation of privileges is here also. Okay? Use more than one key. If you go to bank lockers, there is a one key with the bank system, one key is given to me. When both the keys are inserted, then only that locker is opened. Separation of privileges. Least privilege. Every program and every user of the system should operate using the least set of privilege necessary to complete the job. If you see our organizations, let us say education system, there are different roles the people make. Let us say there is an admin, there is a different team, the finance team, they take money or the examination fee or admission fee. There is a different team who actually look at the result, verify the student. There is a different team who prepares a paper, question paper. So if let us say I am looking at question paper setting, the finance people should not know ki Harshad is setting paper and where he keeps the paper. I should not know how much money the people are taking from student and where they are depositing. So my privilege is up to preparing question paper set, getting printed, giving to students. The other soul is getting money from students, the fees, paying the banks. So their database is not in lining with my database. Student name is fixed, but I am not able to access the fees details or other details of the student. The other person is not knowing what I am doing. So there is a separation. My privilege is up to one part, the other person's privilege is up to his job. So I can complete my job without his permission, without his privileges. I want to write a C code. I do not require to install any software. So I do not require root login for it. So I can write my C code using gedit or vi or any tool like Eclipse or NetBeans. I can write my code, compile, run and execute. That is it. Why I require to have a root login, which can allow me to modify the system? Least privileges. The least common mechanism. Privilege is different, it's a mechanism. Minimize the amount of mechanism common to more than one user and dependent on by all users. Minimize the amount and use of shared mechanisms. Shared objects provide potentially dangerous channel for information flow and unintended interactions. Let us take one. This is a mic, and this system is getting shared by more than one person. I want to make other person not to engage his or her lecture properly. So what I will do after my lecture, when my lecture is finished, I will do some modification in this instrument. When the person will start using, he is not able to deliver session. Why it has happened? Shared. But it does not mean that give such kind of device to everyone. So we need to understand the cost involved as well as the loss or the problem because of such kind of attack, what can go wrong. We need to take care of that. If more than one user is sharing the use of software library or resource that keeps its own variables or state, then there is a potential that each user could monitor the actions of the others by inspecting that state. Something like global variables comes here. Race conditions. By the way, how many of you started writing some C or Java code for developing thread applications, threading?
I used it in a project for software.
Great. So in threads, what happens is they have a common variable or a file that can be used by many threads concurrently. So a modification done by one thread, as I do not have control on those, modification done by one thread in that global variable or that file will be used by other threads where they were not expecting that change to happen, or the change to happen after some time. So, there is a race condition. So, we need to handle that thing. Psychological acceptability. This actually comes with the psychology of a human being who is using the software or developing the software. If you are used to Windows and if I want to shut down the machine, where you need to find the button or something icon, you need to find somewhere down the line, bottom left, and there should be button. Actually, now the Windows 10, I think I don't see the button like start, but earlier in Windows, I used to see the button there called as start. One day my mom, she wanted to shut down the system and she asked me, sir, I want to shut down the system, where to do and how to do is shut down. I said, click on start. Click on start to shut down the machine, because the start button was there, and once you click on start, there is another pop-up should come showing shutdown. The different way is I have Ubuntu machine and I want to shut down the system. Kahan hai button? Top right. So, psychologically I am not used to that system, either it is bottom left or top right. So, people becomes not that, for people it is not that easy to use the system. So, they, while developing the security in the system, we need to take care of that psychology also. This diagram, do you know what is showing? Not clear? Oh, great. There are two one-ways, two parallel roads. I don't know whether you have come to Pune. There is a Jangli Maharaj road and there is a Ferguson College road. Okay? So, from one way there is a Ferguson, we can go from Ferguson to Shivaji Nagar, and there is another way that you come from Shivaji Nagar to Corporation or PMC, and there are many other lines in between, lanes. Okay? And if someone not Punite like me wants to go to other road, so he jumps into that lane which is one way. So, even in the morning before 7 o'clock or after 9 o'clock I can use any way, I can go both ways, but between 7 morning to 9 p.m. I cannot use the other road for going from, let us say, Jangli Maharaj road from Shivaji Nagar to PMC I can go, but ulta I cannot come. Before 7 o'clock, yes, I can do. So, what happens is, generally by mistake I do not follow the rule and I come on the same road which is actually the one way for other side. Psychological effect, we need to take care of that. How we can do it? Educate users, secure defaults, ease of use, automation, policy. The last one is punishment, but in India it is punishment to whom, I do not know. The other one is compartment, different functions doing different job, and that function is doing that job only, not two different jobs. Okay? The secret files, the files are labeled, the classified, top secret, secret, no secret, that is non-classified, all the things. Configuration files, which file can be monitored or can be modified by whom, classify them, separate them from your normal storage. Defense in depth, layering security defenses in an application can reduce the chances of successful attack. Remember my first session diagram where you are seeing the external firewall, there is a DMZ, there is an internal firewall, and then the system will come. So, there are different levels I have put up, so that attack at one location can be prevented. You can see there are two firewalls. Okay, the two firewalls probably I will not use from the same company. One is from, let's say from Cisco, I will take it other from other manufacturing company. What will happen is their signature should be different, or two different malware systems I will put, anti-malware systems. So the signature will be different. So one system or other system will try to catch that attack. Okay? Not the same company. So first thing is multiple layers as well as different vendors providing the facility. It becomes difficult for admin, but chances of reducing the attacks are more. Attacks are reduced drastically. Defending an application with multiple layers can prevent single point of failure that compromises the security of application. Absolutely right. Work factor. Compare the cost of circumventing the measure with resources of potential attacker. My Cummins College website, the attacker wants to attack. There are some people from my same college using the website, but on my website there is no page where user is going to type some key. The user is just going to click on URLs and he can see only static pages. So what kind of attacker can do? If attacker wants to do some attack, let's say SQL injection, how we can perform? There is no input facility, and by attacking that site, our intranet site is different, where our transactions and everything happens on different site. The site on which we upload the paper, that site is different than on the internet site, that is not internet site. So even if the attacker is going to attack that site, he is not going to get anything. So cost, so putting lot of efforts, lot of money on securing Cummins College website, it is not going to help me, it is just going to cost me, because attacker is going to even if you make an attack, what he is going to get? Nothing. He will modify few files, okay, but we can also have the tampering system, tamper-proof system, where if the HTML page is modified, rewrite the previous data, possible. So for that, if I put lot of firewalls and IDS systems, it is going to cost me. So cost factor is required to be understood. Value greater than the skilled attacker cost and time. The time required to attack a system, suppose it is 100 years or 100 machines or 1000 machines, then attacker will stop giving that thing. Nowadays people are making attacks using clouds, because so many virtual machines are available. Using those virtual machines people can attack, but again cost is involved, right? So whether my data, Cummins College data, just HTML pages, if attacker will put those 100 systems attack on my system, Cummins College website, what he is going to get? Nothing. Reporting. So what is required here is, even if my Cummins College website is not having any very much valuable data to the end user or to the attacker, still my system should have the facility that someone from XYZ IP address is trying to access or trying to attack my system. So log is generated. So my system admin can take some action on it. Secure weakest link. In our home, who is our secure the weakest link? Do you know the weakest link? Mom. I want to go to movie. I don't tell to my father first, I tell to my mother. So she says, okay, Balaja. Once I get permission from her, then my job is done. Weakest link. For attacker, the simplest job is find the weakest link. The weakest link is compromised, then whole system can be compromised. Identify weakest link. Your buffer flow, a small buffer overflow, there is an array out of bound, if not checked properly, can give me privilege escalation. Identify weakest link. For attacker, for secure developer, secure the weakest link first. Though low hanging fruits must be picked. Address areas which seem most at risk first. Research tools that hackers have access to, use them. Use them means used by the developers. People are using burp, suppose attackers are using burp or nessus, use them first on your system by your researchers or by your software developers, security developers, test them, and then if it is found secure, then only that make that system, make it alive on the for the general people. Find and remove common types of faults hackers are most likely to look for. First one, overflow, SQL injection, cross-site scripting. Don't overlook insiders and social engineering. This line is very important. Insiders, people talk about somebody is going to hack me, वगैरह वगैरह. Suppose I am coming from one organization and I am leaving the organization tomorrow because of some unhealthy conversation with my manager or with my team. I am leaving tomorrow. What I will do? There is a build system. Can I modify one small flag instead of C flags? It will make it to some different flag. My program will compile. People say there is no change happening in the build system, but the warning is removed. I have shown you by making that warning tick. The getAs function, it is showing dangerous to use. If I unclick that warning, perhaps works. There is no warning, right? One small change made by insider cost a lot, and there is no way. And now people are using, there are systems like IDS, IPS, where you can actually see what traffic is going out, also can be monitored. These things we need to take care when we are designing the software. Do you know what is happening in our systems? The systems are there in place, the design is there. The problem is in the implementation. If I cross the light when the signal, there is a red signal and I have crossed it, jumped the signal, there is a fine, 100 rupees. The policeman should come to me, ideally policeman should come to me, stop me, give me the ticket, take 100 rupees, note or by digital way. Design is there, policy is there, cross the signal, jump the signal, how many rupees I need to pay. What happens here? What happens? Actual implementation. What happens? You know it, right? I don't know to spell it now. Again, there are two things. When a boy is jumping the signal and when the girl is jumping the signal, different policy. Policy is there, but implementation is different, and that is what I am coming to it. We need to not only design the software securely, but we need to implement software securely, so that such things, misbehavior by anybody can be detected, can be stopped. So there are different guidelines. There, it looks right now theory part like just theory and feeling boring, but read those lines carefully today and afterwards also. Practicing sound software design and other phases of software engineering facilities, a structured, small and simple code. Use libraries to protect against security bugs during web development processes. Use of the latest compilers, which often include defenses against coding errors. Simple thing. Let's say there is a function f and I am passing a variable, a floating point data to that variable. The function is expecting integer data, but I am passing the floating point data to the function as a parameter. What happens is there is a implicit typecasting happens from float to integer and your program works, but there is a time required for this implicit typecasting to happen. Okay? So, there is a performance problem is there, but if you compile the code using the latest compilers with the corresponding flags on, that is typecasting flags on. So, if there is a typecasting is detected by the compiler, it will give the warning message to you. Okay, here the parameter required in the function call is integer and the parameter passed in the function call is float. Typecasting is required, that flag is going to give some warning message to you. So programmer can correct it. Programmer can correct it. That is possible if you start using the latest compilers. That is the line he is talking about. There are compilers like GCC. It has shown getS function dangerous to use, don't use. Warnings are there, systems are there in place, but we are not using them, which is dangerous. Efficient input validation is mandatory. Something like I am asking you to, let us say, allocate memory at runtime and the input coming is negative. See how many times you have checked that input, whether the input is non-zero positive value, then only allocate memory. Not only that, if I give non-zero positive number which is crossing the boundary of integer variable, it means it again becomes the negative number. So negative number is coming as an input to your code, and there you are trying to allocate memory. That is, the input validation is missing. So each function that you write, the function need to check what input I am getting, whether it is valid. If the input is valid, then only process, otherwise stop. Two things, either in the function or before calling the function. Two things, depends where it is possible. Code with proper error or exception handling. Check the return values of every function, especially security related functions. The exception handling we have discussed, divide by 0. We just start writing code, division by 0. We don't look at that exception or array bound, it is not detected by C code, we should write that code. The next one, never trust the input to SQL statements. The SQL injection, that is simply 1 equal to 1, that kind of code can help you to give me SQL injection attack. Check for leakage sensitive information to untrusted users. It happens many times. While coming in bus, there are two people sitting once in the same bus. Somebody asks, where you are going? I am saying I am going to Bangalore, I am going to PS University, I am going to go deliver lecture there on security. Is it required? But I have given all this information. I have given this information to everybody who are sitting there nearby. People say, we are going to Kashi. Okay? So there is a home, the family, they are saying we are going to Kashi. That information is known to the neighbor, and after 8 days that Wadkar's family is going to Kashi on, let us say, 7th or 15th of June, known to whole people. The listener may be attacker. So for him, the information is on 15th, Wadkar's family is going out, so there is nobody at home, attack. Do not store sensitive data, check for leakage of sensitive data to the untrusted users. We are giving this data to untrusted users, not required. Encode HTML input. Encoding of every user supplied input can prevent the client's web browser from interpreting this executable code. If you remember, I have said something JavaScript. If you can disable JavaScript, so that JavaScript code on the web page will not be executed on your browser, and that attack can be prevented. Do not store sensitive data in cookies. Encrypt all confidential data using strong cryptographic techniques. The last one is every organization must educate its developers on how to write secure code, and that is the reason to make you aware. I have kept this session at the end, but kept the session to understand what kind of code or how we can code securely. Take care when declaring more than one variable per declaration. Not understanding, right? Now, character star str1 equal to 0, str2 equal to 0. Which is a pointer and which is not a pointer? str1 is pointer or no, or both are pointers? People have seen they write star immediately character, so feeling that whatever they are writing afterwards there will be character pointers. The way you write na integer a comma b, it means what? A is integer and b is integer. Similarly, if I write character star space a comma b, it means what? A and b are both are character pointers. A programmer or code reviewer must mistakenly believe that two variables str1 and str2 are declared as character pointers. In fact, str1 has type of character pointer while str2 is a type character. So ideally this should be like this. Such kind of mistake we make many times. Think about you are writing linked list code. We write something like structure SLL star head comma last, believing that head and last both are pointers containing the beginning addresses or last addresses of the linked list SLL. People make such kind of mistakes. Use meaningful symbolic constants to represent literal values in program logic. If age is greater than or equal to 0, take action, else different action. This is about something like allowing the driving license. Okay? But a driving license, the age can be changing, right? So instead of 18, because it is changing, right? Adult age. Earlier it was 21 years. If you are 21 years old, then only you can vote. Then at 21 shifted to 18. Okay, na? So something like these values are going to change. So if I have a file which contains all these symbolic constants, adult age and all things, I will make a modification there in one file, so that it will get reflected in other things directly. I don't require to change all my codes. Okay? Declare objects with appropriate storage durations. Not only objects, variables also. Can you identify the problem in this code? Character constant star p, anything that you can change? That is there, initialization. Other thing, we are talking about declare objects with appropriate storage durations. Okay, don't worry, I will show you. Can you see the change? What is the change? P equal to str, then p equal to null. So p, which is a character pointer, it can point to bye or it can point to hello. So when I am leaving the don't do this function, it will change back to null. Otherwise what will happen? When I go to the different function, still p is containing the same address. Okay? Do not take the size of a pointer to determine size of a type. Are you getting what I written? This is exactly similar to the strcpy. In the strcpy function I have shown you the prototype. There is a inputs are pointers to the function. Character star, other is constant character star. I have pointers. I cannot see the size of the array whose address is stored in that pointer. So from that I cannot see the size of the array or size of the buffer. Okay, simple thing. Let's take our structure. Okay, there is a structure ABC which contains character A of size, let's say 10, and there is a integer variable x. Okay. What is the size of this structure then? If I take a variable of this structure, what is the size? There is a character array of size 10 and there is a variable b which is integer. What is the size of this structure variable? If I take a structure abc x, what is the size of x? Are you getting my question? Structure abc, starting curly bracket, character a, square bracket 10 semicolon, integer b semicolon, ending curly bracket semicolon, structure abc x. If I want to print the value of if I want to print the size of x, what is the size of x? 14, 12, 16, machine dependent. Suppose size of integer is 4 bytes, then what is the size of x? What is the size of x? 14, 12, 16, 20, 100, what? Go back and try it on your Linux machine, try it. Okay? And you will find the size is not showing 14 but showing 16. Okay? So, suppose I want to allocate memory for this structure variable star y. So, there is a structure abc star y, I want to allocate memory for one location. So, what I write? Y equal to something like structure character star structure abc star bracket complete calloc 1 comma, I know 14, right. So, 14, because according to my logic 10 plus 4 is 14 and then allocate memory. So, I allocate only 14 bytes of memory, but the actual memory required for the variable y for one location is not 14, it is 16. So, that is the statement is saying size of pointer and actual size, they are different. So, think on it while allocating memory, such things do come into picture. Do not assume the size of structure is the sum of the sizes of its members. This is what again the same idea. The size is 4 integer bytes and buffer 50 bytes. So, 50 plus 4, 54 bytes are allocated according to you. Okay? Check this code and see how much memory is allocated for the particular variable. Okay? It is different than the actual 54. Ensure a pointer is valid before dereferencing it. Can you identify the problem in this code? It is a simple C code. The statement is also there, ensure pointer dereferencing. So, identify those things first. Chalo. No? Anyone can identify the problem? Okay, typecasting is not done. Okay. But now the current compilers, they say you don't do typecasting, I will do it for you. Okay. Any other thing? But the problem, actual problem, now if you remember in the first part I have said check whether memory is allocated. We are believing that memory is allocated and operations happen and free will happen. The first thing is when the MLOC is happening, first check whether memory is allocated. If the memory is allocated, then you can perform string copy, then you can free the memory. If memory is not allocated, how you can free it? That was our third session, right? That is maximum size I can allocate. it is not like that. You can up to that level you can go, that is what I am saying. Our main concern is not that size, our concern is allocating memory successfully and then using it. Okay, now let us see where we are. Ensure that integer conversions do not result in lost or misinterpreted data. Integer values used in any of the following ways must be guaranteed correct: as an array index, in an pointer arithmetic, as a length, as a bound of array in security critical code. Now look at this. This is actually the answer. Okay, let us move on. Ensure that integer operations do not result in an overflow. Can you identify the problem?
We don't know if the addition, the sum of u1 and u2 is greater than the size of integer.
Perfect है. ठीक है. So the addition which is in sum will not overflow. So that is taken care in this code. It looks simple. So instead of summing, it is subtraction. That also need to be taken care. Guarantee that array indices are within the valid range. We have seen it. Where is the problem? Where is the problem in this code? In my previous slide, one of the slides I have shown you something like a of 5 printing. Array size is a of 5. I am trying to print a of 5th location. The position, I do not know whether it is between 0 to 99. So I should check here. I should check whether the position is maximum 0, minimum 0 and maximum 99. Guarantee that copies are made into storage of sufficient size. Something like same thing, strcpy. Do not attempt to modify string literals. Any problem that you find in this code? It gives 7 fault. Why? Huh?
Because S is the ASCII.
So what?
B is the pointer which points to the location where the child is, but we cannot modify anything.
Why? The character pointer is initialized to the address of the static string. Attempting to modify a string literal results in undefined behavior. This will, the last one will work. Guarantee that storage for strings has sufficient space for character data and the null terminator. The string copy, string cat, all those things come into picture here. Guarantee that all byte strings are null terminated. What is the problem in this code? Is it? Slash 0. Correct. Okay. So it will copy size of a minus 1 location, that is 15th location, and then it can put the slash 0. Allocate and free memory in the same module at the same level of abstraction. It's difficult to read from there, but check it out and identify the mistake in this code. This mistake we make many times, many times. Don't write, I will give you slides. Try to identify the problem. Okay, the location or the variable which is creating problem for me. Now at least in the left hand side code, the list is getting allocated in process list and the deallocation is happening in verify size. Okay. So ideally what should happen? Where I am allocating memory in the same function, in the same module, the memory should be deallocated. Set pointers to dynamically allocated memory to null after they are released. We have discussed this thing. If message 1 contains value 1 and 2, then message will be freed twice, resulting in an error. Ensure that size arguments to calloc do not result in an integer overflow. Ensure that size arguments to calloc do not result in integer overflow, which is now next part. How we can handle it is check for the actual size that I am getting and try to allocate that size for memory allocation. Do not access freed memory. If I ask my students to deallocate memory of the linked list, they just write for p equal to head, p is not equal to null, p equal to p next and pre p. But pre p, it will delete current p and then what will happen to the next part? Correct. Accessing memory once it is freed may corrupt the data structure used to manage the heap. So what should happen? This is where we deallocate memory, right? Take q, then free, then go ahead. Okay, there is one more question. I have a tree, okay, a binary tree, let's say, and I want to deallocate the memory for that given tree. How to write a code? This is assignment to you. Okay, there is a tree, binary tree is constructed. I want to deallocate the memory. My program is now about to end. I need to free the memory of the tree. How you can do it? Write the code at the back. Okay, not now. At home, somewhere you can write this code. This is really important afterwards. You are writing C code. If you are writing C++ code, if the code C++ code contains inheritance, look at all those things into take into picture and then write the code. Okay, I want to free the memory allocated to the binary tree. There are different nodes. It may be n nodes in the binary tree. I don't know how many nodes are there. How you can deallocate complete memory allocated to the tree. I don't want to delete the root node. It is, if I delete root node, this is something like the first code. Remove the head and then everything is there standing. Avoid race conditions with multiple threads. There is a variable account balance, okay, that is getting referred or used by multiple threads. And there are two functions, one is debit, other is credit. One function is called by one thread, other function is called by another thread. What will happen? You need to synchronize this. What is the method used to be used for synchronizing this thing? अरे बोला म्यूटेक्स, बाइनरी सीमाफोर म्यूटेक्स व्हाट? ठीक है. And that reminds me one thing. There is a book, Architecture of Concurrency. I don't remember the complete title, but Art of Concurrency. Read that book if you want to get familiar to mutex or threading, all those things. Art of Concurrency. Please read that book if you are interested in writing thread programs. The next one, I write everything as a programmer. I do all these things, but still my program can contain mistakes, security bugs. Those can be handled by doing code review. So you can form a group of 4 people. They are doing project now. So you can form a group of 4, 2 people. They are doing some development work. Those 2 people will work as a code reviewer for other 2 people. So code review need to be done. There are some code analysis engines also available. Static analysis tools are available. What to look for? I want to do code review. What to look for? SQL injection, cross-site scripting. That is validation, input validation. If you can handle, great. Checking return values, resource name, then race conditions, buffer overflows. How to prioritize? Code that runs with privilege mode need to be taken care of first. Code that listens to on globally accessed sockets, code that changes frequently. We need to look at those codes first. There are some tools available, friends, to do this thing. Electric fence. I am writing C code or C++ code where boundary checking facility is not there. The first tool will help you, the electric fence. That will, if you run your code with that tool, it will help you identify, okay, this is the it is violating the boundary condition. We can stop it. Rational purify, splint. The splint also comes on your Linux platform. Safe STR library, as I said, strcpy underscore s kind of library comes here. There is a tool called as Valgrind. The beautiful tool, the first utility that I mostly use is called as memcheck. There is a memory checker. When I allocate memory and I am trying to free it twice or more than once, it detects it. Or I allocate memory but I don't free it. Look at your code. If you remember, I said in the third session, allocate memory and don't free it. Look at your all data structures assignments. Check whether your memory is deallocated or not. Stack, implementation linked list, or linked list code, or binary tree codes. There is a lot of memory leaks. Those can be very well detected using these tools, Valgrind, memcheck. Use those. Cache grind, the massive. At the end, I would like to summarize this thing. Security is one of the many system attributes that must be considered in selection and application of coding standards. Other attributes of interest include safety, portability, reliability, availability. All are required, but security we have not given thought as such. The purpose of security coding standard is to promote software security. These are some of the references that I have used to prepare these slides. Again I am saying I have not developed or designed these things. Starting from my session 1 to my last session, I have said these are my compiled notes. Okay, there are many sites or many books or many PPTs, many PDF files I have referred. I have compiled these notes which are given to you. There are different references I have given here. For writing better C code or secure C code, there is a coding standard by CERT which is given there, available on site, or secure coding in C and C++. Please read that book. It will help you to improve the coding that you do today and tomorrow also. Okay, that's it from my end. If you have any doubt, talk to me. Thank you, friends.